Hey guys, and welcome to Relationship Chronicles. Today we have a cheating revenge story from one of my subscribers that I will walk you through with. And afterwards, I'll give my opinion and advice to this subscriber on how to deal with this situation. Here we go. In today's video, I have for refusing to pay alimony to my cheating ex-wife. I met my wife in my early 30s. She was in her mid-20s. At the time, I was already well established, and I had made a significant amount of money working as a quant and investing my savings diligently. She, on the other hand, had never gone to college and was content working for basically minimum wage. So when I meet her, we click instantly and I fall head over heels for her. We get married and move in together and soon after have 3 kids. When we were expecting our firstborn, she had told me she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Obviously, I was jealous, but I went along with it since it seemed logical. So she spends the next 20-plus years as a stay-at-home mom taking care of our kids, while I work 12-hour days and then some. I'm not demeaning stay-at-home moms, by the way. But in the context of our marriage, she had an extremely easygoing lifestyle. A couple of years ago, I discovered she had been cheating on me with her friend's husband, divorced, obviously followed. The only major asset we had in the U.S. was our house, which was a pre-marital asset. We had a shared bank account. But since I'm a finance guy, I handled all our investments and, for tax reasons, invested abroad in my home country. Now, if we had just grown apart, or she said she was unhappy, I'd have no problem paying what's fair, but the fact she cheated on me is what makes me resent paying her a cent. So in the divorce, she is awarded half of our investments made during marriage, greater than 90% of which are abroad in my name, along with alimony for 20 years for 30% of my pay. So here I am, given an opportunity to get out of this entirely by moving back to my home country and never looking back. So I sell our house as fast as possible, move the money abroad, and move back to my home country, while stringing her along about why it's taking so long to liquidate our savings. Once abroad, I immediately stopped alimony payments. Now she has no legal recourse. I've double-checked with lawyers and is left with her share of the small amount we had in the States. The reason I'm asking here is that my own children are split on this. My son is on my side 100%. While my daughters are 90% on their mother's side, I figured it would be interesting to see the opinions of people here. Who to, even if she cheated. This isn't about feelings at this point. This is about labor relations. The idea of alimony for the stay-at-home spouse is that they raised your kids for going other work. It doesn't matter that she was working for minimum wage. She gave up opportunities once you have the kids. She didn't save for retirement because if someone has a primary caregiver, the idea is that the spouse who works outside the home takes care of retirement. Now that the marriage is over, alimony fulfills your obligation to pay for her half of the labor of raising the children. You also want it. Yeah, who's gonna hire a woman in her 40s or 50s who hasn't worked in 20 years, even working minimum wage jobs? She could have still worked her way up to management positions, while also saving for retirement and paying in to see she gave up a lot to raise those kids. Daycare costs a ton, and likely would have cost most or all of the amount she was working for, while she'd still be expected to cook and clean. The only benefit would be that she was paying in to see she shouldn't have cheated, but she's well and truly fucked. Eat it, to add. If it's not clear, Huda. And thanks to whoever gave me silver, alu and TAs, she didn't have any ambition before she was married. She chose to be a stay-at-home mom, she chose to cheat. She made her bed and now she has to sleep in it. It sounds like their kids are all grown up / moved out, so there's no child support involved. She cheated on her husband with a married man. She deserves the bare minimum. Oh, but how will she make a living? Before we continue, please like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. That's her shit show, and only hers now. She cheated and sabotaged the stability her husband provided. She's not owed anything above the bare minimum after breaking trust like that. Yes, she raised the kids, but at the same time he worked 12-hour shifts, etc., obviously making a boatload of money for her and the kids. Also, raising someone's children doesn't give you an excuse to leech off of them after you completely shatter your relationship / trust. Raising the damn kids isn't a get-out-of-jail-free card. Edit/NoteUp commented and mentioned that they even had a damn nanny to cook and clean for them. I'm having a hard time feeling bad for someone who cheated and even had someone doing the damn house chores for her. Buddha. The courts ruled how they ruled. I get why you'd wonder when she superstar sucks for cheating on you. But ditching your ordered responsibility is pretty shitty. Also never seen your kids just so you can avoid alimony. Wow. NTA, she cheated. She doesn't deserve a cent from you. If you had to pay child support, I would say different because child support money is supposed to go toward the kids. But since it's just Alimony FC care, she went and cheated rather than talking to you about if she was unhappy or whatever. So I definitely say your NTA here and TA people talking about how she was a stay-at-home mom, and that's why she is entitled to this money as the wrong answer. She wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. That was her choice. She requested it. OB supported it. The way of talks had seems like they are pretty well off, or that up really knows how to handle money. So childcare wouldn't have been a problem in my mind. That ex-wife cheated and forego the alimony payments because of this. Why should he continue to support a cheater for 20 more years when he's trying to wash his hands of her, cut that cancer out of his life, and move on? She sucks because she is a cheater, and cheaters are always an asshole by default. You suck because when you married her, you agreed to care for each other. The courts are holding you to that original agreement. And a fuck red is obsession. They tried making you a slave for 20 years to prop up a cheater's lifestyle, and she essentially gets to retire early. Enjoy the rage. Enjoy the freedom. Fuck any country that makes slaves of providers, as you'd be jailed if you attempted to retire within this 2 decades. He haven't read a convincing comment here to justify NTA. You're basically sentencing your children's mother to homelessness, or worse. Putting the burden of care on your children to take care of her. How will you feel if your children can't live full lives because they're stuck at home providing for her? You may have left them no choice. But likewise, I really don't understand the AITA answers as if your ex did nothing wrong in this scenario. Really tough comment currently you'd have, even if she cheated, so she isn't an asshole at all. Even if she cheated, when his cheating ever justified. I don't get Reddit sometimes. Buddha, coming from someone who works in family law, I can promise you that if you do that, you're in for a world of hurt. You'd be surprised at how many times I've walked into court in the morning to find out that one of the parties in a divorce/custody cases flown internationally to attend their court date. Doesn't matter if you flee. If there's a will, there's a way. Do you really think that abandoning your children forever to avoid alimony is a good idea? Sounds like a real selfish prick move. Also, if you think that by fleeing, you're suddenly relieved of your court-ordered alimony payments, you're seriously in for a rude awakening. She'll just file motions for contempt. The judge will issue purchase orders, etc., etc. You really want to be incarcerated for ignoring a clear court order and still have to pay everything that you owe on top of that gouda coming from someone who works in family law? I can promise you that if you do that, you're in for a world of hurt. You'd be surprised at how many times I've walked into court in the morning to find out that one of the parties in a divorce/custody case has flown internationally to attend their court date. Doesn't matter if you flee. If there's a will, there's a way. Do you really think that abandoning your children forever to avoid alimony is a good idea? Sounds like a real selfish prick move. Also, if you think that by fleeing, you're suddenly relieved of your court-ordered alimony payments, you're seriously in for a rude awakening. She'll just file motions for contempt. The judge will issue purge orders, etc., etc. You really want to be incarcerated for ignoring a clear court order and still have to pay everything that you owe on top of that. NTA, just because it's the law, doesn't mean it's right. She actively had an affair and sabotaged their relationship. Fuck her if she thinks she's entitled to your money up. Good on you for not letting her get what she doesn't deserve. She gave up any chance of good paying job with a retirement plan to be a stay-at-home mom, a situation you agreed to. That's why alimony exists. She's also a massive asshole for cheating on you, something nobody should expect you to forgive. And the kids are adults. If they were still young, I'd argue you have an obligation to them. You worked, she raised the kids. All that sounds fair to me. She could have gone back to work if she wanted to. Once the kids were teenagers, no problem, but she used the time to fuck her friend's husband instead. And that's just the one you caught her at. You don't know her crap. Huda, she raised your kids so that you could earn big and invest. You wouldn't have been able to do it without her. Also, leave your kids out of this. They shouldn't even know about this. Let's move on to my thoughts and advice for the person that is dealing with this problem. Your story showcases a complex situation where emotions run deep. The dynamics of marriage, work sacrifices, and betrayal create a whirlwind of perspectives. Despite the legalities, the moral dilemma weighs heavily. The dichotomy of loyalty to family versus the impact of cheating triggers conflicting opinions. While alimony traditionally supports sacrifices made during marriage, infidelity adds a contentious layer. Some empathize with your stance, considering betrayal as a breach of trust that reshapes obligations. Others highlight the commitment made during the marriage and advocate for upholding financial responsibility. The divergence in opinions reflects the intricacy of balancing personal ethics, legal mandates, and familial dynamics in such emotionally charged scenarios. I wish you the best of luck moving forward. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed listening, please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, comment below with your thoughts on what happened. Take care.